you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your concern.
Thank you po. So tonight, this is our third workshop. We will be talking about APA, how to do in-text citations, how to write reference formats, those kind of things. But we are just going to talk about the most commonly used formats. We're not gonna talk about everything because it encompasses a lot of things because there are a lot of resources that we can use different kinds of formats. But at the end, I'm not sure. I'm looking at the participants list. I don't think we have anybody that's not in our class. Most of you are in my class, and the resources that I'm going to give you at the end would be already in the canvas in the writing expectations. I believe something like writing expectations. What is it? Writing standards portion of our canvas. So let's start because we are going to tackle a lot. And if you could open your Word as well, because you will be doing some of these exercises. Okay, so this is our APA 7th edition highlights workshop. At the end of this workshop, you should be able to learn how to properly cite and write references of most commonly used sources using APA 7th edition and distinguish between APA compliant and non-compliant citations. Uh, as usual, if I'm going too fast, you can flag me and just talk on the microphone and tell me to slow down. If you have any question, I can't see the chat box, but if you could, um, okay, now I can see it on the other screen. But if you have any question that you want to answer, you want it answered right away, you can absolutely what do you call it? Flag me. You can talk and stop me and we'll talk about it. Okay. Um, things to remember when you are in APA. Always cite the authors of your borrowed sources. Always. Whether you use direct quotes or you just borrow the ideas or you paraphrase them, always cite the authors. If it's not yours, cite them. If it's not a common knowledge, there are some common knowledge that we don't need citation. For example, Christmas is on December 25th. That's common knowledge. We don't need citation for that. Okay, for every idea that is not yours and it is not a common knowledge, you need to cite the authors. That's important. Never ever claim someone else's work or idea as your own, even if you paraphrased it. And follow the APA format strictly. There's really no other way of doing it. Either you do it or you don't do it. So don't guess. If you don't know how to do it, open your browser and just type a question on the browser, and there will be a lot of sources for you to follow. Every comma, every period, every italicization, you have to follow them strictly. There's a reason why a period is located on a certain place in the citation or in the reference. Okay, do not guess. Please follow them strictly. Include all in-text citations in the reference section. If you cite a source in your discussion, make sure that your in-text citation, that source can also be found in your reference section. If you write a source on your reference section, make sure that that is also found on your discussion. I've seen a lot of discussions, not a lot, some discussions in the past 2 weeks that they list a lot. They list some sources in the body of their discussions, but those cannot be found in the reference section, and vice versa. I see some citations in the reference section, but you really can't find it anywhere in the body or in the discussion. Do not write a bogus reference. I'm not saying that it's you guys. I've never seen it in Wesleyan, but this is one of the things that some other students do is they just write a bogus, fake reference just for the sake that they meet, they meet it, they meet the requirement. Don't do that. And borrow appropriately, quantity-wise. Okay, don't copy and paste or paraphrase a lot of ideas, and that would form a majority of your paragraph. What I want for you to do is to write your own discussion using your own words, using your own ideas, submitting your own content. When you borrow, for example, if your paragraph is between 5 to 7 sentences, at least about 2 or 3, maximum of 3 sentences would be borrowed sources. That's what I want to do. Why? Because you are submitting your own content for assessment. We are assessing your knowledge. We are assessing your critical thinking skills and analysis. We're not assessing other people's knowledge. We want your knowledge. We want you to really write and express your ideas. So when you borrow, don't borrow a lot of ideas from other sources. Just borrow a few, and then that's where you are going to show your critical thinking analysis as a researcher. Okay, let's start. There are 2 types of citations in your discussions. One is a parenthetical citation and one is a narrative citation. When we say parenthetical citation, the citation is within the parentheses. For example, Nilo, 2018. That's within the parentheses. For a single author, this is the format. If you, don't worry, I will send you this spreadsheet at the end. I'll send it to everybody, so you don't have to screenshot. For example, this is the sentence: God is love, and then within the parentheses, Nilo, 2018, closing parenthesis, and period. The period is after the parenthetical citation. I've been seeing a lot of work where they put a period between love and the opening parenthesis. That's incorrect. Okay, don't place your period after the sentence and before the parenthetical citation. It has to be after the parenthetical citation. When you are borrowing an idea from a single author, this is the format. If there are 2 authors, then you place them like this: Nilo, ampersand, Obidoza, 2018, close parenthesis, and period. For 2 authors. Okay. For more than 2 authors, this is the new in APA, because before in APA 6th edition, you must list up to 3 authors within the parentheses. But now you can only list up to 2 authors. For 3 or more authors, just list the first author and then followed by et al, period, comma. Again, there's no period after the et. It has to be after the al. So Nilo et al, period, comma, 2018, parenthesis, and then the period. For more than 2 authors. A lot of researchers really don't like this, because if you are the 2nd and the 3rd author, then your name won't show in the discussion. So a lot of authors and researchers, they really don't like this new rule by APA. But it is what it is. APA makes the rules. So for more than 2 authors, just write the last name of the first author. With some exceptions, of course. There are some exceptions on this one too. But we're not going into detail. For example, if there will be 2 Nilos, people with the same surnames, or multiple works of the same first author, so that's the time when you have to list more than one last name, even if there are more than 3 authors, more than 2 authors. For narrative citation, ibig sabihin, if you include the author in the sentence, in the discussion itself, in the sentence itself. For example, here, Nilo discussed that God is love. So Nilo is part of the sentence. If you do that, that is called a narrative citation. So for a single author, you list the author's last name, leave the year of publication in the parentheses, and be a part of the sentence. Nilo discussed that God is love. For 2 authors, it will be Nilo and Obidosa. The and would become a spelled out and, A-N-D. For parenthetical, it's ampersand, But for narrative citation, it will be spelled out and. Okay? Nilo and Obidoza discussed that God is love. For more than two authors, it's the same format. Nilo et al. There's still a period. Okay, year, and then discuss that God is love. Any questions so far?
Narrative citation ng books, sir.
The same thing. It's the same thing. All if the if whether it's a book, a podcast, YouTube, uh, it's the same format. Even if it's an organization, for example, Transparency International is the author. It's a group author. Then you will write it as Transparency International, and then the year of publication discussed that God is love. It's the same format.
Okay, sir. Nilalagyan ng ano, sir, ang tawag doon, parang quotation mark yung title ng book, sir. May nakita kasi akong ganun. Meron naman ding wala, sir.
This is sa in text citation. Ito yung part ng discussion, yung sa body. Doon muna tayo. Wala pa tayo sa reference section. Pero some people, they include the title of the book or title of the journal. For me, it really is not necessary. Pampadagdag lang ng words yon. Unless it's really important for you to mention the name of the study, then do so. When you do so, then just put it in the parentheses. Pero a lot of times, really, you don't need to put the title of the book or title of the article. Kasi ano lang yan, pampadagdag lang ng words. In academic writing, we need to write as succinctly as possible with the least amount of words as possible, and we can still convey, the same message.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
about in the reference section?
Okay,
In the reference section.
We'll go there
shall we
later
include
on.
the name of the... Okay.
Later po.
Okay.
Yeah. Dito muna tayo sa parenthetical. Okay, let's go to the next slide, which is direct quotation naman. Kanina, paraphrase. Ito yung pinaraphrase natin. The next one is, what if you use direct quotation with page numbers? So if I copy-pasted, the youngest child is always the smartest. That's copy-pasted from a source. You need to write the page number. So include it within the quotation marks. Okay, quotation marks. Opening quotation mark. The youngest child is always the smartest. Closing quotation mark. Walang period. Open parentheses. And the author's last name, year, and then the page where I can find this. Okay, where I can find this. Closing parentheses and then period. If there are two authors, andun na siya, merong ampersand. Cruz and Abad, year, and then page number. More than two authors, ito nga kung saan nagre-reklamo yung mga authors kasi nawawala yung pangalan nila. Just write the first author's last name, et al. Period, comma, 2018. Tapos nilagay ko dito PP kasi, for example, nahati siya sa dalawang pages. For example, the youngest child, nasa page 17, tapos is always the smartest, nasa page 18 na siya, nahati. So you need to put PP or pages 17 to 18. Example lang yun, ha? It's just an example. Example for multiple pages, nalagay siya ng PP. This is parenthetical citation pag nagko-quote kayo ng direct quotation. Ito yung copy-paste. Again, wag kayong masyado nagka-copy-paste. Minimize it. The only times that you are going to do a direct quotation for terminologies, for technical terms, or for direct quotations na when you paraphrase, you would believe that the original meaning you would lose the original meaning. Okay, kung palagay nyo mahirap talaga siya i-paraphrase at mawawala yung original meaning niya, or if it's too technical, or it's terminologies, mga ganon, definitions na masyadong technical yung terminologies niya, then use direct quotes. Aside from those, always paraphrase. Always. Kasi pag ni-run sa anti-plagiarism software, lalabas kasi lahat ng direct quotes, lalabas kasi siya eh. Kasi mahihit siya. Tapos tataas yung similarity percentage mo. Pag mataas ang similarity percentage mo, parang magkakaroon ng issue on plagiarism. Pag ganun, masyadong mataas. Kasi ngayon, i-check na yun ng professor nyo or ng publisher mo, ganun, or if you're going to submit an article for peer reviewed, check na nila yon kung bakit masyadong mataas. Dapat mababa lang kasi we need to paraphrase. Okay, how about kung walang page number? For example, kinuha ninyo sa website, sa YouTube, podcast, mga ganyan yung mga sources na walang page number, you need to write a paragraph naman. For example, the youngest child is always the smartest. Halimbawa, kinuha ko ito sa website, I need to count how many paragraphs from the top. Ganun siya. So paragraph 17, kunyari. Or if you want, you can direct your reader to the section. Anong section siya kinuha? So the youngest child is always the smartest. Tapos kunyari, dalawa yung authors ko. Ampersand, year, tapos sibling section. It's a section. Ganun. Tapos, kung more than 2 paragraphs naman siya, halimbawa, kinuha mo siya sa 2 paragraphs, paras naman siya. P-A-R-A-S, period, tapos 17 to 18. Kung more than 2 authors, ganun pa rin, Cruz et al, period. Walang period sa et ha, nasa al siya. I'll go back. This is the direct quotation with page number. So, yun yung page number niya. Ito naman.
Sir, may tanong.
Po, yes po. Go ahead.
Yan. Sir, kunyari po, kukuha po ako ng direct quotation sa abstract. Paano po yun? Kaya po ang ina-assume ko po lang po lagi na first paragraph yung nilalagay ko. Pag po ganun.
Kasi yung mga articles naman, may page number naman sila eh. Ngayon, kung kukuha kayo ng source sa online, open yung PDF niya kasi may PDF. A lot of times, may mga times kasi nawala eh, di ba? So, kailangan niyo kunin yung PDF niya kasi sa PDF na din yung page number. Isa pa, kung sa reference ninyo, nakalagay naman kung ano yung page number niya. For example, ang page niya ay from 25 to 30. Then you know na yung abstract nasa page 25. Then yun na ilalagay mo kasi lagi siyang nauna sa...
Okay po. Thank you po.
You're welcome. Ito pang ibang example ng page number. Ito naman sa narrative citation mo pala ito. So again, this is the parenthetical citation with page numbers, tapos without page number, parenthetical. Ibig sabihin, yung citation nyo nasa loob ng parenthesis. Ngayon, the quotation naman with page number, tama ba? Sa narrative citation, ganito naman siya. Kung narrative, ibig sabihin, yung author ninyo ay part siya ng sentence. Kaya tinawag na narrative. So, for single author, Cruz, and then nandun yung year niya sa parenthesis, discuss that the youngest child is always smarter. Yung T, magiging small na siya kasi it has to be part of the sentence. Walang period at the end, page number, tapos yung period na sa dulo. May nakikita kasi sa inyo, yung period nilalagay na ninyo dito sa closing quotation. Dapat wala. Dapat nasa after siya ng page number. For 2 authors, ganun din yung end, magiging spelled out na end na siya. Cruz and Abad, 2018 discussed that the youngest child is always the smartest, page number, tapos yung period. More than 2 authors, Cruz et al, discussed that the youngest child is always the smartest, page number, tapos period. Ito yung direct quotation with page number. Ito naman yung direct quotation without page numbers. Okay. For narrative citation, narrative, ibig sabihin, again, yung authors are part siya ng discussion natin, part siya ng sentence. Paragraph number, ang ilalagay natin doon, sa dulo, Cruz discussed that the youngest child is always the smartest. Sa quotation, dalawa yung nilagay quotation, mali yan. Paragraph number 17, then period. How about for YouTube or music or podcast? Pwede niyong ilagay yung timestamp naman. Okay, timestamp. Kung saan mo siya mapapakinggan o mapapanood. So for example, sina Cruz at Abad, diniscuss nila yung the youngest child is always the smartest beginning at 3 minutes and 21 seconds nung podcast or nung video. You can do that too. So instead of paragraph number. So Cruz and Abad, 2018, discussed that Again, sorry na doble ito mali ito. The youngest child is always the smartest. Beginning at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Tapos more than 2 authors, the same thing. Cruz et al. Walang comma, may period lang. Parenthesis, the publication year. Discuss that, opening quotation. The youngest child is always the smartest. Paragraph 17. Do not use a quotation as a standalone sentence. Ibig sabihin, tulad nito, yung ganito. Actually, hindi talaga pwede yung ganito. Binigay ko lang as an example ng parenthetical citation. Pero don't do it like this. Na yung the whole sentence ninyo ay ano lang, ay quotation lang. Dapat hindi daw ganun sabi ng APA. Dapat meron kayong introduction or meron pa rin kayong part ng sentence na wala sa quotation marks. Tulad nga nito, Cruz discussed that, ganun. Or Cruz and Abad discussed that. Or according to Cruz, ganun, tapos magkakaroon ng ng quotation marks. Do not use a quotation as a standalone sentence. Any question so far sa direct quotation? Wala? Okay. Let's go to block quotation. A block quotation is if you borrow 40 or more borrowed words, dapat ganito ang kanyang format. Ito, kunyari yung paragraph, tapos ito yung sentence na paragraph. Submitting original work is vital, colon, tapos ito na yung block quotation. The entire block quotation should be indented. Kahilaran nito nung paragraph indentation ninyo. I think half an inch. So the most important thing for doctoral students, ganun, 40 words siya. Tapos dito naman at the end of the block quotation, nandun yung period. Andun na yung period. Tapos yung in-text citation. Wala nang period sa dulo. Okay? Block quotation, again, ang block quotation, wala na siyang quotation marks. Tapos nandito na yung period niya, walang period sa at the end ng citation. Pero please, huwag kayong masyadong magbablock quotation. Actually, huwag kayong masyadong magda-direct quotation. 95% of the time, mag-paraphrase pa rin kayo. Pero there are instances when you need to use a borrowed source, copy and paste for 40 or more words, then you need to place it in a block quotation. Ito naman yung block quotation na narrative. Ibig sabihin, yung author, part na siya ng sentence ninyo or nitong paragraph. So Mateo, parenthesis 2019, found the following. Tapos yun nga. Yun yung 40 or more words na borrowed content. Andun pa rin yung period, tapos page number na lang ang ilalagay. So ito yung in-text. Kasi nasa within parenthesis yung author, ito naman yung narrative. Kung part yung author, part siya ng discussion ninyo. Okay. If you are continuing within the same paragraph, yung susunod, wag ninyong i-indent kasi considered na part pa rin siya ng the same paragraph. So mag-start pa rin kayo dito. Left justified, di ba? Tama ba? Nasa left. So for example, ito yung block quotation ninyo. Tapos tuloy pa rin, hindi pa rin siya bagong paragraph. Within the same paragraph, dapat hindi siya naka-indent. Hindi naka-indent itong the ability of doctoral, ganun. Hindi siya naka-indent. Kasi same paragraph. Pero if you want to end the block quotation there and start a new paragraph, saka mo na siya i-indent. Ibig sabihin, ibang discussion naman na ito or ibang topic na or ibang point na. Hindi na siya part ng same paragraph as the block quotation. Ulit-ulit natin ha. Okay, block quotation na in-text citation, nandun yung source, period at the end of the borrowed sources. Ito naman yung narrative. Ibig sabihin, the author is part of the narrative of narrative or part of discussion. If you want to continue within the same paragraph, don't indent the succeeding sentence. But if you want to start a new paragraph, then indent it. Okay, next. Group authors. For group authors, especially the long ones, you need to spell it out, everything. For example, samahang walang jowa sa Pasko. Sinong member sa inyo dito? Sa samahang walang jowa sa Pasko. Parenthesis, tapos bracket, SWJP, closing bracket, comma, and then the year. For first citation. Pero sa subsequent citations na, ano na lang, yun na lang, initials na lang nila. Okay? Only the first citation na kailangan ninyong i-spell out. Subsequent citations, yun na lang initials. Also, keep in mind that you will only use initials kung more than 3 times ninyong babanggitin yung group author. Pero kung minsan o 2 beses lang, i-ano nyo na lang, i-spell out nyo na lang, even the second time, i-spell out nyo na lang. Kasi, para ano, kasi 2 beses lang naman eh. Pero kung 3 beses ninyong babanggitin tong XWJP, then spell it out the first time, tapos yung second and third and fourth na gagamitin nyo sila, SWJP na lang. Remember, parentheses, spelled out, bracket, initials, closing bracket, comma, and then the year, closing parentheses. For narrative citation naman, kung part sila ng discussion ninyo or ng sentence, samahang walang jowa sa Pasko, tapos parentheses, SWJP, discuss that. Ganun na siya. Inilabas na ninyo itong group author mula sa parentheses. So yung SWJP, nasa parentheses na lang siya. Wala na yung bracket. And then subsequent citations for more than 3 times, more than 2, nababanggitin niyo itong SWJP, ano na lang siya. SWJP, and then the year of publication, further discuss that, ganun na siya. So you don't have to spell it out every single time unless you're going to use it only once or twice. If you're going to use the same group author for 3 or more times, then yeah, include the initials. With group author with abbreviation. There are group authors without abbreviation though. Harvard University, they don't go with HU. They just go with Harvard University. So for those group authors that don't have abbreviation, you don't have to, and don't use abbreviations na hindi naman talaga nila ginagamit. Wesleyan University Philippines, we use WUP. So you can spell it out the first instance and then just use W-P on second citations. So narrative citation naman, Harvard University, and then year of publication within the parentheses, discovered that. Let's go back. Group author with abbreviation. Take a look. Again, don't guess. Follow this strictly, Follow it strictly. And group author without abbreviation. Parenthetical citation of multiple works. Ibig sabihin, if you are using many authors for the same idea, you must list them alphabetically and separated with semicolons. Sinense, comma, year of publication, semicolon. Nilo, ampersand, Mateo, comma, year of publication, semicolon. Vidal, et al, period, comma, year of publication. Alphabetical yan, C, N, at saka V. Kapag within parenthetical citation, within the parentheses, kailangan alphabetical sila. But if they are part of the narrative, then it doesn't matter kung in any order sila mag-show up. You don't have to list them in alphabetical order kasi narrative siya. So Vidal et al, Sinense, and Nilo and Mateo, yung end, naging spelled out end na siya kasi narrative citation na siya. Okay, I'll leave it for 3 seconds. Pagmasdan yung mabuti, so you know the difference. Parenthetical, kailangan alphabetical, narrative, it doesn't have to be. They can appear in any order. Napapansin ninyo, ano lang siya, last names lang. Nakikita ko kasi sa inyo, may mga initials, may mga complete names pa eh. And then the reference section. Before we go to reference section pala, before we go there, let's see, stop share. May question kayo before we go to reference section? May question kayo sa in-text citation?
Sir, meron po ulit ako.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yung sa may retrieve from po, di ba pag po hindi makita yung DOI, kokopyahin po yung HTTP sa taas. Ilalagay pa po ba yung word na retrieve from or hindi na po?
Mamaya pag-aaral natin sa reference section. Pero to answer now, ang kaibahan ng 6th edition sa 7th edition, ang 7th edition, they removed the retrieve from. With a few exceptions. Ang mga few exceptions, yung mga websites that they constantly change or get updated. So you need to include the retrieve from and the date so that when your readers go and check the website, tapos iba na yung content niya, they know na it got updated since you retrieve it on a certain date. Kung retrieve mo yung information na October 10th, tapos October 11, nag-update yung website, nagbago yung information and everything, they won't fault you, hindi nila sabihin na bogus naman yung ano mo kasi naglagay ka ng retrieve from and you know that the website gets updated constantly. Pero aside from that, kung hindi naman masyadong ina-update yung website for journal homepages, mga DOI, mga ganun, you don't need to put retrieve from anymore. Which is good kasi less work for us.
Okay po, thank you po.
Welcome. Anybody else sa in-text citation? Kasi we'll do some work. Let's see if I can do this polling. I need to close my other device now. Oh, sayang. Kasi I started a polling. Okay, if not, let's continue with a reference. Di pala pwede yung polling kapag you're on multiple devices. Now we know. Reference section. For reference section, these are the most commonly used references. Take a quick look. Ito yung journal, tung si Asamaya at si Aspers, mga articles sila from journals. The format is, una-una, yung references must be bold-faced and centered. Kahit sa discussion forum, you can actually do this. You can center and boldface your references kasi meron namang rich text editor on Canvas. Wala siyang colon wala siyang colon. The format is first author's last name, comma, first name initial, period, comma. Tapos follow lang ninyo yung ganong format. Second author's last name, comma, first name initial, period, space, second name initial, period, comma, tapos ampersand. Hindi siya spelled at the end. Tapos yung third author, may period, parenthesis, year of publication, period. Nakikita ko karamihan sa inyo nawawala tong period dito. Ngayon, yung article title, capitalized only the first letter of the first word. Except for proper names like name of countries, name of people, and words, the first word after the colon. Kung merong colon yung title niya, you have to capitalize the first letter. So first letter lang nakakapitalize. Kahit na ba capitalize ito sa article, you need to lower it, lowercase ninyo sila. Okay, wag niyo yung kinakopy yung kung ano nakikita niyo sa online. So general, target, and accessible population, colon, tapos capital D, demystifying the concepts for effective sampling, period. Ang susunod ay your journal, name, comma, and volume number. The journal name and the volume number must be italicized. Must be italicized. Comma, normally meron din ditong issue number, pero this one there's no issue number. Comma, tapos page number, period. Eto, wala siyang DOI. So I need to go to the journal homepage of qualitative report, which is nsuworks.nova.edu. I need to write the entire journal homepage. Wala na siyang retrieve from. So ito yung article na walang DOI. Pangalawa naman, kahit dalawa lang siya, gano'n pa rin. Meron comma pa rin dito. Aspers, comma, space, first name initial, period, comma, space, tapos ampersand, second author, year of publication, period, space, tapos yun nga, what is qualitative in qualitative research? Qualitative sociology, ito yung issue number. So qualitative, yung journal number, journal name, at saka issue number italicized. Ang issue number, ito yung volume number. Actually, sorry, ito yung volume number. Yung issue number, ito yung within parentheses, walang space talaga doon. So magkadikit talaga yung volume number at saka issue number. Ang issue number within the parentheses, hindi na siya naka-italicize. So follow strictly yung ganitong format kasi even italicization, mahigpit talaga sila. So yung journal, comma, space, volume number, naka-italicize, walang space, parentheses, yung issue number, comma, space, page number. Tapos ito na yung DOI. You need to write the entire DOI URL. Wala na yung DOI sa beginning, yung DOI colon, ganon. Sa 6th edition may ganun eh. Meron yung nakalagay yung DOI dito before the URL. Wala na yon. Ito yung bago sa 7th edition, yung URL na lang. Sorry. Ito naman yung kinuha ko sa online magazine, SC Times. Kapag online magazine, kapag book, mga ganon, ibang format nila sa mga articles, online articles. So ito, author name, kailangan ko ilagay yung complete date ng publication or kung kailan nila pinost. Makikita niyo yun sa website. Kung wala, ilagay lang ninyo ng N, period, space, D, period. Ibig sabihin, no date. Pero as much as possible, hanapin ninyo kung kailan pinablish. So 2019, ganito ang format niya, comma, space, month, space, tapos date, period. Ang title na ngayon ay italicized. Yung title naman niya ay italicized. Period. Tapos, ito yung pangalan ng magazine or ng website, SC Times. And then, ang ilalagay mo na lang daw, sabi ni APA, you don't have to include all yung masyadong mahaba. Kahit yung, yung homepage na lang ng magazine ang ilagay ninyo. Or ng website. Homepage na lang. Wala na yung masyadong mahaba. Kasi para mas malinis. Ngayon, yung tanong ni Mercy kanina, paano yung retrieve from? If I know that SC Times gets updated constantly, tapos kailangan ko ilagay yung retrieve from. So retrieve from, ilalagay ko yung kung kailan ko siya ni-retrieve, tapos yung kanyang from, retrieve on pala, retrieve on, tapos from, tapos ito yung yung website niya. This one is a YouTube. For YouTube, ang pangalan ng author or nang nag-upload ay si Professor Enterprise. That's his YouTube name. So yun yung ilalagay mo, period pa rin doon, kailan niya pinablish, year, comma, month, and day, period, tapos yung kanyang title ay italicized, and you have to put in bracket yung video, that it's a video. Tapos name ng pinagkuhanan mo, YouTube, period, tapos yung kanyang URL. Ayan siya. Ito naman yung tinatanong kanina ni James, yung paano yung mga books, yin, r, dot, space, k, dot, space, year publication. Tapos ang mga books, ang kanilang title ay naka-italicized din. Minsan, meron silang edition. Ilalagay mo lang edition within the parentheses pero hindi na siya italicized. Ang bago sa 7th edition, wala na yung kanyang publication place, yung city and state or country. Dati meron dito eh. Ngayon wala na. You don't have to put it. At kapag siya ay book, always put a period at the end. Yung mga book, the rest kasi wala. Pero yung book, meron silang period at the end. Nilagay ko yung period not because of IAN Incorporated. Dahil talagang required talaga ang period sa book. Okay. Ang aking suggestion sa inyo, my suggestion, try to look for sources that are easy to cite or easy to write. Kasi minsan may mga kamukha sa inyo ng mga book reviews, books within the books, mga ganun, or mga chapters within the books. Well, those are okay. Pero ngayon, nahihirapan naman tayo mag-cite. Yun ang problema. So, kung ako sa inyo, make it simple, di ba? Make it simple. Kuha lang kayo sa mga sources where you can really, that you can cite them properly. If you want to use sources, then pag-aralan ninyo kung paano sila isa-cite. You need to go to website, itype lang ninyo how to cite a dissertation, how to cite an online newspaper, how to cite Kindle, how to cite, yung mga ganon. Ang personal communications, you need to put them in in-text citation. Halimbawa, yung email, or nag-usap kayo sa entrepreneurship, kung nag-usap kayo ng mentor mo through phone or Facebook or Zoom, and you talk and you borrowed an idea from them, you need to include their name and the date when you borrowed that sa inyong discussion in text citation, pero you don't have to write it in reference. Yan yung sinabi ko kanina ng exception, may mga exceptions. Yung mga personal communications, you don't need to write them in reference section. So, questions so far in reference before we do some exercises? Yes, sir, Mr. James.
Sir, ano po, how do we know na credible si YouTube source po?
Oh, I don't know. Nasa sa inyo kasi you are the researcher. Kasi pag sinabi ng credible, is subjective kasi siya eh. Unless talaga na may mga, alam mo yung mga blogs, yung mga blog lang na gano'n. It's up to you. Kasi if you are a researcher and then you use a source, it is actually up to you to justify why you use that resource. I cannot answer it. Kasi maaring hindi credible sa akin, o maaring credible sa akin, pero sa mga more experienced na mga scholars talaga, they think that's not really credible. Ganun sila. Kaya nga, as much as possible, let's try to borrow. Siguro if you borrow from YouTube, mga ganon, yung mga, if they are just necessary, just to cite an example, ganun. Pero if you want to use them as part of our peer-reviewed references, I would stay away on YouTube.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anybody else po?
Sir, good evening po.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Ms. Janet.
Hello po, sir. Question lang po kasi there are some company websites na nagre-release po talaga ng magagandang article. Pero hindi po nakalagay dun yung author. Paano po ba namin, at sometimes kahit yun pong date wala din po, basta company website po siya, tapos may article. Paano po ba namin ilalagay sa reference?
Sa reference, yes, sa reference section, pag tingnan natin ito si Kaur, si Kaur. Halimbawa, hindi si Kaur ang author, kundi si ST Times, yung company mismo. For example ang ilalagay ko dito, ST Times, period, tapos yung date. Ngayon, hindi ko na ilalagay sa ST Times ito, tatanggalin ko na. Yun ang pagkakaibahan ng mga group authors or company authors. Kung hindi sila people talaga, then you can cite the company itself as the author, tapos hindi mo na siya ilalagay after ng title ng page title.
Okay.
Ganun lang siya.
Tapos sir, kung no date po, lalagyan na lang din po ng NV?
N period space D period, yeah. ND.
Okay po. Thank
No
you,
date.
sir.
You're welcome. Ganun din sa sa in-text citation, SC times, tapos parentheses, N period space D period, closing parentheses, ganun, discuss that, ganun. So you can cite the company name or corporation name, business name as a group author. Anybody else po?
Sir, yung iba nakalagay close and open parenthesis undated. Okay lang ba yan?
Hindi ko pa nakita yun sa APA. I think nilalagay lang talaga nila ND.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen it po sa APA yung yung undated.
Sir, meron pa pong isa.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Kasi sir, minsan pag nagre-research po kami, meron na silang mga citation na pinipindot lang namin, tapos pipili sir kami ng format. Tapos sir, ang pinipili namin is APA. Pero sir, yung
Mhm.
isang feedback mo na bumalik sa akin, parang mali din yung format nila. Siguro sir, hindi lang po updated yung, or luma na po siguro yung article. But within 5 years lang din naman po.
Yeah, even ProQuest, ganun sila. Hindi talaga, they try, pero hindi, they try pero sa dami ng hundreds or maybe thousands ng articles na ano. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, when you use Scriber yata yon, Scriber, yung meron silang citation generator, I really don't, I don't use it, or I would use it para mapamadali lang yung pagbubuo ng citation, pero I would still check it. Mahilig ako sa ProQuest, meron na din yung site, lalabas yung site, tapos ika-copy paste mo lang. Pero I don't really use it that much kasi minsan capitalize lahat yung title. Yung title ng article naka-capitalize. Or wala siyang journal homepage at saka wala din siyang DOI. Ganun. So try to you can use yung mga generator or mga recommendations pero you copy paste pero i-check nyo pa rin para makorek nyo pa rin.
Thank you po.
Welcome po. Anybody else po? Oh, you ready to do some work? Sayang hindi ko magawa yung poll. Open your Word. If you have other questions, you can type it or remember it, and we'll answer it after our exercises. Open your Word and create a reference section. Isang reference lang. Ito lang. Ito yung information. As much as possible, try to do it hanging indent sa inyong Word since naka-Word naman kayo. And try to do it double spaced if you can. Journal of American Society on Aging, ganun. Miss Jackie, tapos si journal homepage. Yeah. So Ray, we can take a look. America must invest in its next generation. Journal on American Society on Aging. Tama po. Yeah. Yan yung nakita nyo homepage niya kasi ang pangalan ng kanilang journal actually ay Generations eh. Nakita mo yan, Sir Ray? Sa website nila?
Tama, sir. Yung tinignan ko yung website.
Anong pangalan nila, sir? Anong pangalan ng kanilang journal name?
ASA, American Society on Aging.
Yung kanilang journal po.
Journal of the American Society on Aging. Generations Journal.
Generations. Yun ang pangalan ng kanilang journal. Generations. Yeah. Pero tama po. Tama itong ginawa ninyo. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So the rest, kay Sir January, ganun din yun nalang journal homepage. Miss Melanie. Yeah, tama na itong mga to. Miss Madeline, tama din. Journal homepage na lang po ha. Miss Melanie, ang hinahanap natin yung yung journal mismo, homepage po ng journal, hindi yung article. So yung tulad ng binigay ni Sir Ray, yun yung hanapin natin. Yun, asaging.org. All right, good job everybody. I like it. Ito yung sa akin. Generations. Ang pangalan ng kanilang journal. Okay, last na po. Ito naman ay book. Book. Last na ito. Paano tayo magsusulat ng reference natin ay book? For the purpose of the record, kasi ngayon ko lang na unpause, nag-resume na recording, ibalik ko lang kanina yung sagot sa una nating practice. Ito yung kay Corte. Ito yung sagot. So we can record it, and for all of you, when I send the recording links sa inyo, you can see this. This is the answer. This is the second practice. This is the answer. Kasi ito yung ating third practice. Book. It's a book. This one, meron siyang edition. It's 6th edition. Dali lang to. Balik ko lang sandali sa reference section natin so you can see the format of the book. See Yin at the bottom, yan yung book. Dali lang siya, no? Walang masyadong information na kailangan. So, ibalik ko na dun sa ating practice. Yan. I'll give you about 1 more minute. Tapos, tinan natin. Okay, kay Miss Angie Greenberg, managing behavior in organizations. Remove yung period after ng organizations. Tapos yung 6th edition, ilagay sa parentheses. That period. Actually, ang ginagawa nga nila, yung edition, ED period lang hindi siya spelled out. So, managing behavior in organizations, space, open parentheses, 6th space, ED period. Yung E niya ay small letter na lang, yung ED. Ed. Yan. Kay Ma'am Jonah, sabi niya, italicized daw yung managing behavior in organizations. Yeah. Dapat italicized. Okay, Janry, Managing Behavior in Organization, 6ed. Actually, hindi siya city, dapat yung publisher ang ilalagay, which is Prentice Hall. Miss Melanie Greenberg, yung letter J lang, hindi siya complete na Gerald. Tapos after ng year, may period. Tapos Managing Behavior, small b, in organizations, small o. Number 6, TH, ED, ganun. Prentice Hall. Wala na yung New Jersey. Nilagay ko lang yun para malito lang kayo. Kasi may mga remnants pa ng 6th edition. Kaya tinan natin si Sir, Sir Ray. Greenberg, Manager, 6th edition, Prentice Hall. Period at the end of Prentice Hall. Yun na lang ko lang, sir. Kapag book, meron siyang period. I'm not sure about yung superscript, yung TH. I'm not sure kung i-check natin sa APA kung acceptable, pero to be sure, wag na lang natin isa-superscript yung TH. To be sure. Tama ba yung 6, number 6, 6TH. Kaya lang yung TH kasi naka-superscript siya, nakataas. Yeah, ganyan. Tama po. Yeah, kay Miss Melanie. Yeah, tama. Ma'am Divine, ED period na lang po. Prentice Hall period, tama. Miss Robel, tama. Yes! O, di ba? Madali lang. Kailangan lang talaga i-follow yung format. Tama po. I think yun na yung aking last na exercise. Mercy, tama rin. Yeah. Spelling lang yung Prentice, ha? Spell lang. Reference. Ito yung mga resources. I will send this to you. Most of these are in our Canvas. Pero meron dito yung Indiana University Anti-Plagiarism Training. This is our extra credit opportunity for both classes for the following 2 weeks. So watch out. Mag-open naman yung hating gabi yung Module 4 o Module 3. Meron kayong opportunity na makapag-earn ng extra 25 points. Tapos, I would also encourage you to subscribe sa Trident University's core webinars. Marami silang webinars about doctoral, dissertation, writing, publishing, literature review, mga ganon. Dito, sa trident.edu/webinars/core. Yeah. Ayun. Anybody has any question? Sino po may tanong before we go? Meron ba tayong participants na hindi estudyante? Wala, no? Lahat kayo estudyante. Okay. Since lahat kayo estudyante natin, i-post ko na lang sa Facebook itong presentation. Itong PowerPoint para meron kayong copy. Kasi nandun din yung mga resources. Anybody has any question po before we go? Again, my suggestion, as much as possible, look for resources na madali lang i-cite. Huwag na yung masyadong komplikadong i-cite. Ma'am Jonah.
Lang po. Bali, pagka po in-text citation, yung specific page lang po yung ilalagay namin. Pero sa reference, the whole journal na po.
Yeah.
Yung page ng whole journal. Okay po.
Yes. Sino pa po? May request din si Ma'am Lourdes about kung saan pwedeng makakuha ng mga resources. I'll send it po sa ating Facebook din. Although nasa Canvas na po siya, pero I'll post po, Ma'am Lourdes. Yung ating online libraries po sa Wesleyan.
Yes, thank you, sir.
You're welcome po. Sino pa po? May tanong? Gutom na kayo? Kumain kami ng tinapa. Bagus yung tinapa. Tsaka tortang talong.
Nakarating pala yun din, sir.
Ha?
Nakarating pala dyan yung tinatawag.
Mahal ang tinapay, isang $1 per piece, kaya kailangan mong namnamin masyado.
Napakamahal
Kailangan
yan.
mong kainin lahat. Kung mahirap, kung mahirap yung formatting na hindi natin masyadong maalala, madali lang, search lang sa website talaga, how to cite a book, APA 7th edition, gano'n, may mga lalabas na mga ano. As much as possible, doon kayo sa Purdue University or sa APA website mismo pumunta. Kasi minsan yung ibang mga universities, medyo mali-mali din yung kanilang format eh. Kahit university na sila, minsan mali din. Ang maganda talagang resource doon sa APA, yung binigay ko sa inyong link at nasa link din mamaya, especially sa mga teachers, mga college professors dito, kasi meron silang tutor, handouts at saka instructional aids. Meron mga practices doon, may mga webinars na you can use to teach your students on how to use APA. May mga practices doon for teachers. So, this is my APA. Last chance for question. Wala na. Naku, gutom na kayo. Nabanggit ko lang yung tinapay. Nagutom na kayo. Picture na tayo.